What's up, everybody? This is Battlefield Joe 97 here, giving you a review of Knack for the PlayStation 4. Now, I don't know what to say for the kind of game that I completed like yesterday from what this game offered. Like, I was promised by certain journalists within the gaming community, not journalists, but the gaming community, and from respected journalists, that this is sort of like a throwback platformer to the PlayStation 1 era of Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, and all the other mascots that certain companies made, like IDOS with Geck. But when I was playing through Knack on Christmas Day alongside Super Mario 3D World, which, let me tell you something, 3D World beats this game in a nutshell. That, I'm gonna have to shout that out. But when I was playing through it, I absolutely hated this game. Like, I was lied to. Like, what? What the hell is this? Where is my platforming goodness of Crash Bandicoot? Instead, I had a dumbed down God of War with only 3 combos that you can, do throughout the entirety of the game. You kidding me? And throughout the whole internet, I absolutely shattered upon this game. If any of you follow me on Facebook or Twitter, I absolutely despise this whole thing. And hell, I even made the comment of like, even though this game isn't the must-have of PS4 exclusives, at least this one has more originality to it than Killzone Shadowfall. I had a lot of flank from that. And to be honest, from playing a little bit of Killzone Shadowfall, evidence of that is screenshots I took of it from Facebook and Twitter. It was just another Killzone game. Just a tech demo, another tech demo. That's just how I feel from the whole thing. But, yeah, going on out of it, I wanted to give the game a chance, so I played through it some more, and then there were certain times and certain levels of the game that I absolutely liked. Like the levels where you become this ginormous Knack and you fighting against monsters throughout like the city, like that was the chapter. And that I absolutely freaking love, because it kind of, the game was sort of in an essence of being a beat 'em up, being this like giant freaking hero beating the monsters up in the city. That I absolutely liked. But what I do not like is certain sections of the game thinking that it's a platformer from the PlayStation 1 era. And I'm like, you're not a platformer, you're a dumbed down beat 'em up for the younger kids. Because this is what this game is. This is like a beat 'em up game for younger people who want an essence of challenge. And by challenge, I mean the game's relentless difficulty comes out of freaking nowhere. I mean, I played this game throughout the entirety of the normal mode. And let me tell you something, in certain parts of normal mode, the difficulty just spikes out immediately. And there's certain times where the enemies have these one-hit kills, and you have to, let me get the controller, that you have to press the right stick out of the way, like in certain movements of it, in order to get away from their attacks. And if you don't, you get this one-hit kill, or your entire health depletes immediately, and then you just die off. And then it kind of pisses me off, because in certain sections, for whatever reason at the end of the game, moving away from these one-hit kills is sort of impossible for whatever reason. Like, I don't know what the hell happened with that. But speaking of, like, the controls, like, you really don't have to do anything that difficult with this game. You don't have to go through an insane amount of combo moves like in God of War or any other 3D beat 'em up. No, 3D beat 'em up. 3D hack and slash game or something like that. You sort of have like these movements of the circle or the square. Oh, forgot about that. The circle or square, or the circle or triangle. It's just all the movements that Knack does when you get all the sunstones, which is another part of the game where you have to use them to kill off a bunch of hordes of enemies or kill off a bunch of bosses to make them very easy as all hell. So yeah, like once you strategically know how to use these sunstones, the games become relentlessly easy as it goes. But Yeah, anyway, the movements of how you use Knack when you get these sunstones are just all within these buttons, so it's really that easy as all hell. Which is kind of refreshing, but kind of, dumbed down as all hell, because I can just use the same kind of strategy over and over and over again with no sense of, urgency. I can just press triangle and square to do like this kind of, moveset to blow up everybody throughout the area and boom everything. So there's no sense of challenge once you know how to strategically use these sunstones. And like once you find all the parts that are scattered throughout all the chapters throughout these walls, you get these certain parts, and when you complete them, it really becomes that easy. Like in my first playthrough, I got in like maybe 3 to 4 items completed. One of them was to find hidden, areas to get these parts and crystals in order to make Knack even more powerful, and that helped me get the other 3. The other one was a combo meter, which, basically became like a freaking fighting game, where like you have to keep hitting enemies, and then if the enemy hits you, your meter goes down to 0. It's kind of addicting, to be honest with you. And the third one was like gathering sunstones without even touching them, which is a good thing, because I don't have to waste my time backtracking as all hell throughout the stage. And that's about it of the combat. It's refreshingly simple, but then that refreshingly simple becomes not that hard when you can just basically spam the living shit out of the same movesets, the same enemies, and the game's difficulty spikes don't even become that difficult anymore. And it's just like simple mistakes that you've done, like, oh shit, it wasn't the game's cheap-ass mechanics, it was just me. Those certain moments, which is kind of good because the game isn't at fault for that in certain places. So yeah, the controls are gone. I think I can talk a little bit of the gameplay that I did a little bit. The gameplay is a beat 'em up. It's a beat 'em up game in the sense of God of War with some parts and some essence of a PlayStation 1 not beat 'em up, a PlayStation 1 platformer like Crash Bandicoot. And this is what really gets me with this whole game, and a lot of, people who review this game kind of said themselves. This game certainly has no identity of what it wants to be. Does it want to be a beat 'em up for PlayStation 4 owners who have nothing to play outside of, multiplats that they could have just bought on their PS3s or 360s? And, a little bit of the exclusives that has some substance to it. In my honest opinion, Resogun beats everything, including this and Killzone Shadowfall, but that's just me. So, is it trying to be a beat-em-up for those kinds of people, or is it being like a platformer, a PlayStation 1 kind of platformer for people like me who played these games when they were a kid, like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, who absolutely fucking adore them alongside Mario in the game, back in the N64 for me. There's like certain parts of this game where you feel like it's a platformer, and there's certain parts, well, most of the time for me, it's a beat 'em up. And that really saddens me how Mark Cerny and the team of, who developed this? Some branch of Sony Computer Entertainment. Some branch of Sony Computer Entertainment, of how they really couldn't decide if this game was a beat 'em up or a platformer, and this really makes me kind of iffy with the gameplay and this whole identity crisis. But if I'm speaking termly of the beat 'em up aspects of this game, it has some things to go out of it. The controls are solid for the most part. It's very easy to move Knack. It's very fluid to use the right stick in order to do these quick dodge moves, like I said earlier. And the movesets are easy as all hell. It's just through the triangle, square, the circle, and the X button. And that's about it. The controls are simple, they're tight, but in certain sections of the game, they're not tight. And, they're kind of loose as all hell. So gameplay is tight, but, it could a little bit work to make it even more tight. It sounded so wrong. And the graphics, this game's graphics isn't, of a horsepower like Killzone Shadowfall, but in essence, it doesn't really need to be a horsepower like Killzone Shadowfall. This game has sort of like this CGI, you know, Pixar but not Pixar sort of look to it, and I really do like Knack's Knack's smallest sign. I'm a little bit iffy with his bigger design when he always had like these eyelashes that are similar to freaking Rock Lee, which is kind of creepy to me. And his voice, yeah, I kind of like go in this kind of phase when I hear it every single time. But yeah, like going back to the graphics. The graphics in certain parts of the game look really, really nice. The draw distance in certain sections that go in this wide angle lens sort of way really looks nice as all hell. But in certain parts of the game, the textures are really low as all hell. Like in, let me go to my Facebook in order to see the kind of picture again, in order to illustrate this, to kind of remember it. To go for it. Oh yeah, this certain picture I took in Facebook and in Twitter, where like it was in the lava section of the game, and the lava looks like pizza. Like this, like let me go back here. My profile in Facebook, which you can follow me on. So yeah, going through it. Shit, this computer is like a little bit slow. Going from it. Okay, like this one. This certain picture I took of Knack, which is sort of in the description below if you want to see that, where, you know, the lava, as described by Shokio. Yeah, Shokio follows me on Facebook. Like, and it friends me. This is what Shokio had to say about the picture of it. That does look like pizza. I didn't even know that was lava until I read your description, LOL. And to be honest with you, it really does look like pizza. Like there's certain parts of the textures in this game where it doesn't look exactly right. Like the grass doesn't really look like grass. It looks like dead grass that didn't have any sunlight because the trees blocked it, sort of dead grass. Like the textures and even the characters can be low res in some cases. But other than that, these textures are not that much of a big deal, and for the most part, the particle effects of Knack's relic body coming out of it, I really do love, and the sound effects of it, that I love so much. So yeah, the graphics, they're decent. They're not of a horsepower that the PlayStation 4 needed, and to be honest, it could have been, you know, a PlayStation 3 game for all I know. Hell, Mark Cerny may have made it a PlayStation 3 game until, you know, when he was working on the PS4, he was like, you know, we don't need that. Put it on the PS4, for whatever reason. Because, you know, there's no games for the PS4 that I'm currently playing right now. Just a backlog of Assassin's Creed 4, which I currently am playing after finishing Knack. So yeah, the music, the music sometimes is okay. But sometimes it just repeats in certain levels and it gets annoying as all hell. And there really isn't nothing special about the music. The sound effects, though, like I said before with Knack's whole gathering relics, how his relics are out of his body once he gets hit, those outshine the music, to be honest with you. And, you know, I was listening to other things than rambling about with the music. And the story, yeah. let me see in the back of the box, though. Oh, yeah. The story. Yeah, the story's forgettable. Like, I try in my hardest to at least care for what these characters have to say, like the doctor, his grandson Lucas, I think his father or brother, this adventurer guy, which I'm questioning if, you know, someone at Funimation voiced the guy. I'm kind of questioning it. And a fill-in who, spoiler warnings, but I doubt any of you give a shit, dies at the final chapter of the game, and then another villain just apparently comes out of fucking nowhere once on the door that Knack and the doctor try to open, but then like at the final moment don't want to. Comes out of freaking nowhere, and I'm like, oh, it's this fucking plot again. Well, fuck. That comes out of it all. And the voice acting is cheesy. It's PlayStation 1 cheesy. You either like it or hate it. Sometimes I fucking hate it. Sometimes I absolutely like it. And, you know, in certain parts of Knack's unusual voice that spats out of nowhere from his body. Sometimes that voice and him doing the action, like being a badass, kind of works. But, you know, when he's not doing a badass thing, he kind of, you know, is awkward. It just seems out of place, the voice of him. So yeah, voice acting is decent, cheesy, PlayStation 1 kind of era cheesy, and stuff like that. And the length of this game is quite considerably large, considering how, like, if you're cut off on guard from, like, the difficulty spikes, it can take you, I think, more than 13 hours at best. Me, I just took my time and played through it from December to February, because, you know, I had other shit on me, and, you know, played a better game like Super Mario 3D World, which, for one, I'm kind of debating if I want to do a review on that, but that's besides the point. So, overall, is Knack a good game? Depends on the kind of game that you want. Like, if you see this as a beat-em-up game with some unique things towards it, like the character himself, you can quite considerably enjoy this, like I did a little bit when at the end of it. But if you were seeing this as sort of a platforming game from the PlayStation 1 era that kind of wants to take the essence of it, like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, and, you know, characters like Gek, you're going to absolutely hate this game. Hell, in certain parts, some people hate this game because of how, you know, stupid it can be. And yeah, it can be stupid, but don't knock the game because it's stupid, alright? So overall, the graphics are nice, but, you know, certain parts and the textures are kind of like low res all hell and could have been that of a PS3 to a little bit of a late PS2 game. That be said. The controls are tight in certain parts of the game where, you know, the controls of the right stick don't work as all hell. Voice acting is alright, it's cheesy. Storyline's forgettable, you just go through it, skip the button, and kind of enjoy the beat-em-up aspects of it. The gameplay, it can be repetitive and linear, but if you can kind of deal with it in some cases of it, you can quite enjoy it, like some parts like I did. So overall, Knack is sort of a rental to a purchase that is from $0 to $30 at best. This game is not worth $40, $50 to even the $60 price tag. And I can see why certain PlayStation fans who only bought the PlayStation for Killzone Shadowfall, to even some who didn't even give a flying fuck about the PlayStation exclusive and just went to third-party games, would see this as a game that Sony would give out for PlayStation Plus. And quite considerably, I can see this as a PlayStation 1 giver, since Sony really has nothing to offer for PlayStation Plus on PS4. So they might as well give out one of their first exclusive titles in PlayStation Plus. Oh no, wait, that goes the rest of them. So second one. So overall, Knack is meh, like how I said of the final screenshot that I took of the game that you can see on Facebook or Twitter. It's meh. It's the kind of experience that I really would have liked to be of a platform, but, you know, I see it as what it is, a beat-em-up, a dumbed-down beat-em-up for people who really don't want to put any skills to it, don't really want to put that much effort into, you know, the kind of moves that you do for Knack. So, let me repeat myself. Overall, Knack is a meh game. It's a rental, a PlayStation Plus freebie, and a purchase of $0 to $30 at best. Used, new, whatever. So yeah, this is Battlefield Channel 97. Catch you guys later.